Hello there. What is going on, everybody? Today we got ourselves a preview from Fantasy Flight for X-Wing Wave 3, our Republic starter pack, and that is the Guardians of the Republic Squadron pack. This is going to have 3 fighters in here. It's going to have our Delta 7 and 2 V-19s, and this is just a great launch point if you're looking at getting into the game and you want to just pick one faction and you happen to like the Republic with all the clones and the Jedis and all that. So that's really, really cool. And we got a good look at a lot of the ship's pilots and a few upgrades that are going to be in this pack. So I'm really excited about this one. I think this is the faction that I'm probably going to be playing a lot more of. This will probably be maybe my main faction. And what I love about this is that everything, from this point forward, especially for these new Clone Wars factions, it should be hyperspace legal. So you won't really have to worry about, I have all this stuff for this faction, but I can only use half of it or whatever. So that's going to be pretty cool. Before I get too much farther into this, I do want to remind you, if you're new here, there is still time to enter the latest giveaway. I'm giving away a Star Wars Force FX lightsaber in the form of an Amazon gift card. So all you have to do if you want to enter to win that is be a subscriber and leave a comment. Let me know what you are most excited about in X-Wing, what your favorite ship is, as a matter of fact, because I think these are some pretty cool ships, and I think there's a lot of really cool stuff in store for the Republic. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. This is really nice. So our Delta 7 Aether sprite. Did you say Aether? Aether? I try to say like a combination of A and E, so I'm like Aether sprite? No, it's not Yether sprite. That's silly. But we gotta look at the dial here, and it's a fast ship. This is pretty much feels like an A-wing in a lot of respects to me. So I think that's maybe the ship it's most comparable to. Although it's not a direct comparison. But we got a lot of fast maneuvers. We can do our 5 straight here. We don't have a 1 straight like many other fast ships. We have a decent number of blues. We have got the 1 banks are blue. We've got the hard 1 turns we can do. We've got our 2 banks are blue as well, and our 1, 2, and 3 straights. We do have a 2 Segnors loop, as well as the 4 and 5 K turn in the 4 and 5 straight. So we have a lot of maneuverability in here, very, very fast, decent enough amount of blue to be able to clear stress. So not too bad, not too bad. We have a couple of interesting things about this particular ship. It seems like our generics are also going to be Jedi, so it's nice to see generic Force users. There's not a whole lot of those in this game. The Empire, I believe they have the generic Inquisitor, so there is a little bit of it, but there's not a whole lot. And I think this is going to be the faction that has, a lot more Force users. So this is, I think we could have all predicted that we would get generic Jedi Knights at some point, especially if they were going to be doing this faction. So it's nice to see that. But as far as what the ship has itself, it's got an attack of only 2. Again, very much like the A-Wing. Agility of 3. We've got 3 hull and 1 shield. So, so 4 hit points total, which is pretty standard for that light, fast interceptor type of ship. Again, but without the really strong firepower. So, you could have used a little bit more, but they have a few tricks up their sleeves that are going to give them a little more offensive capability. Now, also, we are noticing that we have fine-tuned controls, which is after you fully execute a maneuver, you may spend a force to perform a boost or barrel roll action. So that's cool. Now, keep in mind, if you're doing a red maneuver, you're going to have a stress, so you can't do any actions. So you're basically going to have to fully execute a white or blue maneuver, and not have stress. Or have some type of upgrade or ability that's somehow allowing you to do actions even while stressed. But generally, when you do a white or blue, you're going to be able to. That's generally how it's going to work. You're going to be able to reposition. That's going to be really important, especially for your higher pilot skill pilots, because repositioning is everything in this game. So our generic Jedi Knight has initiative of 3, so you're not really looking at these guys to be blockers as much. You're looking at them to be a decent little multi-purpose fast fighter here. For actions, we've got boost, barrel roll, target lock, focus, and we got this purple evade. Now, purple is a new type of action that is still a normal action, consumes your action step, but it's going to require you to spend a force to do it. So there's been a lot of mixed emotions on this, and I think I could probably talk for a whole video about purple evades or the purple action in general. And the consensus is that basically it's not really that great of a thing, but it's better than not having an action at all. So basically, if you spend your force point, like for your generic Jedi Knight here, you can spend your force point to be able to take the evade action. Then you don't have a force anymore, and then you can't take any other action. So isn't it generally better to save your force, because then you can and take a focus, because then you can spend the focus for defense, which is going to modify more dice than just an evade, or isn't it better to just do some other action, and then you still have your force ability that you can use for something else, like your fine-tuned controls, for example. Or the Jedi Knight can't use his ship ability and a purple action in the same turn unless he's got some other way, or he or she has some other way of getting extra force. So it just seems like it's giving you an extra option, because there's a lot of different things you can do with a force icon, especially in this faction, especially these Jedi ships. But that purple action isn't all that great. It's an option, but maybe one that won't be chosen very much. Unless, of course, we eventually see more things that trigger off of maybe having evades. Something specific for Force users, Force abilities. If you have an evade, maybe some Republic-specific upgrades that might, or other Republic pilots that'll come out in the future, that if people spend a force, they get a force back or something like that. It could eventually become better as the future goes on, but as of right now, it would be better to have a white evade, basically. But especially when you compare it to like an A-Wing or other ships that have white evades, or better yet, the Inquisitors, which have a white evade and force. That they seem like they're a little bit better equipped to be able to take evades. But we'll look at other pilots that we have for the Delta 7. We have Obi-Wan Kenobi. Hello there, the guy who stole my line. No, he didn't really. I stole his line. I can't really accuse him of that. Obi-Wan is Initiative 5, so there's a couple of 5s. We're seeing some 5s are really cool. And we get a little sneak peek at Jango Fett there in the background of the art, which is kind of that little hint that maybe we're going to see Jango. I think, of course, we're going to see Jango. The only question is he going to be scum, or is he going to be separatist? Or will he be both? I think he's going to be separatist, only because for balance purposes, because scum has so much already. I think he's going to be separatist. But I could be wrong. All right, so Obi-Wan Kenobi, Initiative 5. After a friendly ship at range 0 to 2 spends a focus token, you may spend a force. If you do, that ship gains a focus token. So that's a way. Oh, and he's got 3 force tokens. All right, so that's really, really cool. Nice. Now that that purple action doesn't seem quite as bad. If you've got 3, you can afford to play defensively, right? Take that evade, and also have 2 more force available for other things, right? That makes sense. I can see that. Okay, but still, it's not that great. I'd rather have a white eye, because if, let's say, you get shot and you roll 3 eyeballs or whatever. Well, you can now spend an evade to change 1, and then spend your other 2 force to change the other 2. Now you spend all your force. Or let's say you roll 2 eyeballs and a blank. You can spend the evade to turn the blank, right? It gives you some defensive options, but then you're going to be out of force, and it's going to be a few turns until you fill all the way back up. So, but yeah, Obi-Wan has all kinds of ways that he wants to spend force. So he can, he's got fine-tuned controls already, but he's also got this spend a force to give a ship a focus token after they spend a focus token. So this is like really good support option for somebody who needs to defend but also wants to shoot, or somebody who's going to be shot multiple times, like a Biggs type character, or somebody who's going in first, like maybe a lower initiative Jedi Knight that went in ahead of him to try to get a range 1 shot on the opponent and wants to survive long enough to return fire. And hopefully when they return fire, they'll have a focus left to be able to use for offense. So that's a pretty cool ability. And just he's Initiative 5, and he's got 3 force. So Obi-Wan's value is not just his ability here; it's also the pilot skill, or the initiative, and the force. We've got Plo Koon in that little ring, his little hyperspace ring, is also initiative 5. So again, these Jedi Master, I mean, they're high councils, right? They don't spend all their time sitting around just talking to each other about who's not worthy. They also fly around. So he's initiative 5. At the start of the engagement phase, you may spend a force and choose another friendly ship at range 0 to 2. If you do, you may transfer a green token to it, or transfer 1 orange token from it to yourself. He's all about support. And I think in this case, he's going to be useful to support the clones. All right, so it's a nice... now, Plo Koon only has 2 force. 2 is still good. 2 is still very, very good. Anything more than 1, I think, is what you want for these because they have so many ways to use them and they're getting 1 back each turn. So if you do need to take a purple action or you do need to use fine-tuned controls and a pilot ability, then you're going to be able to do that. So 3 is better, but 2 is all right. So Plo Koon's good support, and he's initiative 5, which is great. We do have an initiative 4 here in Saisi Tin. And that's a name I don't know how to pronounce, and so maybe I said it wrong. Let me know if I said that wrong. After a friendly ship at range 0 to 2 reveals its dial, you may spend a force. If you do, set its dial to another maneuver of the same speed and difficulty. So this kind of gives you that old navigator kind of upgrade from X-Wing 1.0, or the Boba Fett ability. Like you basically, I went this, I chose wrong, all right. This is really good for maybe a lower pilot skill that isn't going to have the knowledge of how to where you're going to be at for repositioning. So you just got to kind of, say, well, I'm going to fly him this way. Hopefully, I guessed right, and gives you some mitigation for the guess game. And the thing is, you don't have to, you don't have to necessarily, do that. Granted, they're going to be going first, or they're going to be going mid first, right? Like so, maybe your higher pilot skill is going later and is still near her. Maybe it's for up initiative 6 and, oh, wait a second, you blocked me, right? And now all of a sudden I'm going to bump and I'm not going to be able to take my action. Maybe I won't even have a shot at that. So let me turn the other way so at least I can reposition. There's just a lot of different things that you can potentially do with this ability. And it's a you may, so you'll know when the time comes if you want to do it or not. So it's a pretty cool little support ability. We got 2 force here. Another initiative 5. Great artwork on this one too, by the way. Really, really like that ship layout, the way it's pictured. Mace Windu. I love that they're giving us so many different Jedi, right? We've got Obi-Wan. I think we expected Obi-Wan. I think we expected Anakin. I think we expected our Jedi that were on screen the most. And Mace, I kind of expected Mace too, although I wasn't sure if we were going to get him quite so soon. With his purple saber and his purple evade. Get it? Okay. All right. Anyway. But I mean, Plo Koon also. It's like we're getting a lot. I mean, there's a lot of Jedi out there though, so there's still plenty more Ahsoka, for them to do. And that's great. But it's cool seeing Mace Windu. So Initiative 5, 3 Force. Again, awesome. I think it's so good for being Initiative 5 and having 3 Force. I don't even care what his ability is because just having those 3 is good. And after you fully execute a red maneuver, you can recover a Force. So that's cool. So you can kind of recharge and get back up quickly. Very cool. So, like in the Delta 7. Delta 7, though, it's still only a 2-attack ship. We'll see some Force upgrades and some things later on that are going to help it out a little bit also. We also got to look at the V-19 Torrent, though. V-19 is basically going to be like your bomber. It's going to be your ordnance, your missile delivery platform. And it's going to fly, it looks like it's going to fly a lot like in some ways like a TIE bomber. It's got some cool little maneuvers, though, some cool tricks. We do have the 1 forward, so it's not super, super fast. And it's a blue 1 forward. We got a couple of blues. We got our 1 banks that are blue also, and a 2 and 3 forward that are blue. We also have a 2 red Talon roll, which is pretty cool. I kind of like that. And then we also have the 3 K-turns. So you have different ways that you can turn around, which is a nice little addition. But overall, not the best dial, but certainly not terrible. You can do the slow approach with the 1 straight, so I like seeing that. When we look at the ship itself, now this is one of those times where I really wish we could see the upgrades. I'd like to see, how many missiles can it take. Obviously, this is an ordnance delivery platform. We're even seeing missiles in the artwork, right? So, it's definitely going to be one of the. That's probably going to be the case. But like, can it just take one? Can it take two? Can it take missiles and torpedoes? Can it take bombs? Or rather, it really helps to know what it can, does it have system? All these things would be nice to know. And what's it going to cost? Is it going to be comparable to a bomber? Is it going to be cheaper than a bomber because it has one less hull, right? I mean, there's a lot of things to consider that would be helpful. And that's one of the reasons I don't like the app as much, because that only gives you information when they decide they're going to finally release the information. So it'd be nice for these spoilers to at least tell you everything that they were going to start it with, so then we could kind of go from there. But so our first generic is going to be a Gold Squadron Trooper. We've got 2 attack, 2 agility, 5 hull. Very, very comparable to the TIE Bomber, which had 6 hull, but it's also 2 and 2. So little, crits are going to blow this thing up really, really quickly. And it's not going to be able to dodge them that easily. So, you kind of, that's why I expect them to be cheap, because you're probably going to hope that you just have, you can blow one up quickly, but I'm running 6 of them, something like that. Now we've got focus, evade, target lock, and barrel roll into red evade, which is interesting. I can't really see myself doing a whole lot of evades here, but target lock, definitely, because if it is a bomber, you're going to want to do that. We've got Blue Squadron Protector. That's our Initiative 3. Same thing. Not a whole lot to talk about on this particular one. But great artwork, too. We're seeing all those capital ships. We're seeing Lucre Hulks. We're seeing Venators. We're seeing and all the other Separatist capital ships. This is like that opening battle from Episode 3. I just love this artwork. This is one of my favorite artworks so far, and it's from a generic of all things. It's just, as an Armada player at heart, every time I see these, these capital ships in the background, I'm just like, I see what you did there. It means you commissioned that piece. Like, this might have even been part of a bigger piece, and maybe they'll crop it out when they do Armada, when they do Clone Wars, hopefully, Anyway, I'm getting distracted because I see all these beautiful Clone Wars ships and all this Clone Wars art, and it's very, very cool. Very, very, like 20 years ago, I would have been like, what are you so excited about? Was it 20 years ago? Or 10 years ago, I wasn't so thrilled about prequel stuff, but now it's cool. It's really cool. All right, so here we're going to start looking at some of the named V19s. They don't have a ship ability, but they do have, some of our names do have some cool abilities. So Kickback is our Initiative 4, and he's got, after you perform a barrel roll, you can perform a red target lock action. So he's got basically he's got basically one more action. It's that linked barrel roll into target lock. That's his special ability. And that one's actually going to be really useful for missiles, because you're going to need to reposition from time to time. At Initiative 4, he should be able to use that a little bit. It's not going to be a guaranteed all the time thing, but when you need to get that target lock, that's the way to go. Because these guys aren't really going to be doing a whole lot of regular damage when they're just shooting out of their front arc unmodified. So they're going to need to be launching some ordnance. We got Oddball. Now here's an Initiative 5, so here's somebody who's a threat. He's definitely a threat with Initiative 5. After you fully execute a red maneuver or perform a red action, if there is an enemy ship in your bullseye, you may acquire a lock on that ship. So here, that's a pretty cool ability. Now, we've seen from the dial already, they do have a lot of red on there. So if you want to do that Talon roll, turn around, surprise you, he's straight up going to do a Talon roll, turn around, surprise you. You were chasing him. And, oh, by the way, he's also got a target lock on you and can fire at range 1 because you didn't think he was going to go that, That's pretty cool. We got Swoop. Again, another Venator in the background. I see you, Venator. I love that. Initiative 3. After a friendly small or medium ship fully executes a speed 3 to 4 maneuver, if it's at range 0 to 1, it may perform a red boost action. Now, boost is something that's not available to these guys, so here's a way for another V19 to be able to boost. However, if a V19 boosts, it's not going to get that target lock. So unless maybe it has one already from a previous turn, it could be useful. But it's important to note that this guy doesn't really need to have the other ship be a V19. It can be any other ship. Ships that don't have boost available to them. Medium ships even. Now, it doesn't work for a large, but even a medium ship someday. So you're going to be able to do like those arc, your arcs can be able to boost that way. Any other ship that they ever add to the Republic is going to potentially be able to fly alongside Swoop. And so, if there's certain ships that just don't have boost as an option that would really benefit from it, well, this is going to be something that, might not be super OP right now, but can potentially grow as more ships are added. So that's kind of cool. We've got Axe. Good name. In Initiative 3, after you defend or perform an attack, you may choose a friendly ship at range 1 to 2 in your side arcs. If you do, transfer 1 green token to that ship. I think we've seen this one already, so this one isn't exactly new, but that's also a really great painting. I like that artwork is great. I've said that a lot about a lot of these, but I try to make it a point to really point out the art in these cards because these artists are doing really tremendous work. This kind of reinforces the whole clone theme of Brotherhood. If the Jedi are empowering, like, here, you guys do this, the clones are doing teamwork. Oh, I don't need you perform an attack. Oh, I didn't need to spend my focus. Well, you know what? Hey, brother, you take that. Brother, you can take this token. Oh, thanks, brother. Like that kind of whole mentality. It kind of feels clone-ish, I guess. So that's good. That seems like that's on point. It's on theme. We've got Tucker, Initiative 2. After a friendly ship at range 1 to 2 performs an attack against an enemy ship in your forward arc, you may perform a focus action. Again, a ship in your arc. So you got this. It works great with Axe, right? You're flying side by side. You can get a focus action. This is just, you want to be flying side by side with your friends. You get benefits from teamwork. That makes sense. I love it. It's good. It's good stuff, especially if you've target locked, and now you can have, if you had to spend your action to target lock, you can do that. We also got some force upgrades. So Brilliant Evasion. When you defend, if you're not in the attacker's bullseye, you can spend a force to change 2 of your eyeballs to evades. So this is giving you a little more options for things you can do with a force ability. This is one of the things I was talking about before. Force is just, not that efficient necessarily to be used on a single evade action when there's so many more options of different things that you can use force for, especially in this faction. Now, this is not a card that's restricted to any one faction, so this could be useful for a lot of different things, but, it's just one of those things. I just think this is a nice little option to have. And the next one's really, really nice. I love this one. This is Calibrated Laser Targeting. I feel like this will almost be an auto-include for the Delta 7s. While you perform a primary attack, if the defender is in your bullseye, you can add an eyeball result. Now, these guys all have, this is Delta 7 only, and it's using both your mod and your configuration. So you can't put another mod on here, you can't put another configuration. There is at least one other configuration available, so while I say it feels like an auto-include, it's not the only option. So they're still forcing you to think about how you want to build your 7s, or you want like a 7B, or you want this one. So while this is basically giving you an extra die result, and considering the initiatives that the Delta 7 pilots have, and the fact that they have so much reposition, it shouldn't be that hard to line up bullseye shots with that ship. So that kind of it feels like this can kind of turn it into a 3-die ship, so a 3-die attack ship, kind of. And so that's nice. That's nice. It's definitely going to force you to, if you can play it well. This is not a card, I think, that's going to be as friendly on brand new players. This is a card that's going to reward you for flying well and going to kind of turn your A-Wing into a TIE Interceptor. Maybe not. Maybe that's not the best analogy. Let me know if you agree with with that assessment. But I think it's a real good card. Real good card. And of course, it's definitely going to cost you 2 upgrade slots. I just wish we knew what it was going to cost you for points. So let me know what you think of this preview. Are you excited as I am for these clones and these Jedi? I think this is going to be the best faction in X-Wing. I'm most excited about it for sure. Absolutely. Let me know in the comments below what you think, guys. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I want to thank my patrons on Patreon. You guys have been amazing. There's still plenty of time to enter to win that lightsaber. Make sure you subscribe, click that bell for alerts. Let me know your favorite ship, what faction you're going to be playing. Are you excited for Wave 3? I want to thank you all so much for watching, and have a great day.